In commemoration of the 2023 International Day for Eradication of Poverty, President Bola Tinubu put action to words by launching the disbursement of 25,000 naira to 15 million households for 3 months as a social safety net intervention. Well, joining us now for more on this is a human capacity development expert and an economist, Michael Adeleye, who believes there are better, effective ways to use the funds. Mr. Michael Adeleye, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you for having me.
Well,
good afternoon,
well, good afternoon. So how impactful, really, do you think this 25,000 naira palliative can be to these households, considering how tough the country's economic situation is at the moment?
Yeah, thank you very much. Personally, I think this issue came up in the previous administration where they planned to disburse fiscal cash to the populace. And for me, it's a no-no. I mean, if you look at the branch of the economy now, we have millions of people complaining, over 90 million people are living under the level of poverty that they can actually bear. Now, if you talk about the money is not even the issue, but what do they do with the money? Now, the government say 25,000 naira for 3 months. The question is, after 3 months, what happens? Okay, that's number one. Number two, is that the money, the physical money that we need at this point in time? No, we lack skills in this country. People need skills to work. People need skills to go to move themselves from one level to the other. Now, 25,000 naira, if you give it to me now, looking at the condition of the country now, they're going to keep that money. It's not going to be spent. If they're going to spend it, they're going to spend part of it and keep the money because people want the money to be kept in their bank account. Now, I will advise the government, look, the 25,000, if you have the money, use that money to open up our tertiary educational structure. Look, I've asked this question quite a few times. Our technical education structure is actually going to tatters. If you have to do anything in this country concerning construction of buildings in this country, you have to go to neighboring countries to actually go and hire the Togolese, the Beninese and other. We don't have quality tilers in this country. We don't have painters. We don't have electrical or mechanical engineers, that went through the structure of that technical education in this country. Why don't you plow that money and say to the populace, right, we are opening up a skill acquisition center so people could actually gain skills so that after 3 months or 6 months or whatsoever, they can go further from there to actually use their skills to actually develop themselves. That's what we need. Giving out cash is not going to work. For me, it's a no-no. That's one. Number two, do we have a database? How do we monitor those money that's going to go out? In the last administration, the Minister for Humanitarian, Human Affairs, actually came public and said she gave that money to every single household. Nobody could actually come out and say, right, okay, I got the money. We have no database that actually monitors where and how this money is going to be disbursed in the first place. Going further, if I'm a member of the opposition party, I'm going to say to you that it's going to be used as a political instrument to people. Because if you give me money, I'm bound to be loyal to you. Right? So there's a lot of a no-no in there that I'm not comfortable with. You can plow that money into the economy by making people to go for skill acquisition. For example, if we ask me to go and learn tiling, for example, and the government is paying 15,000 towards that, and the next 10,000 is for me to feed and do my transportation. That works. You're going to have millions coming on board and say, okay, let me go and learn new skills. If we look at the IT sector in this country, a lot of people are using their own personal fund or borrowed fund to actually train themselves up. Why don't the government use that money to do that? I'm not a fan of that fiscal cash given out to people. It's not going to go far. You can monitor it. There's going to be a lot of embezzlement that's going to go within that structure, and you can't account for who and who got this money. And if the money goes out, it's not going to be beneficial. It's going to become inconsequential to whatever plan the government's think that money is going to go for. So for me, it's a no-no.
All right, Mr. Adeleye, let's look at it from two perspectives.
Yeah.
Usually the federal government would always insist that the brackets in which that conditional transfer actually falls under, or those that actually are qualified are not maybe people like you and I, that probably 25,000 naira might not be able to
solve any problem.
Yes, solve a problem, or solve an immediate problem. But there are people that are living below the poverty line.
Absolutely.
That 25,000 naira is a huge sum to them. And put it side by side, I'm just trying to find out from you. Putting it side by side with a certain kind of conditional cash transfer we also saw during the COVID era, whereby governments globally were actually disbursing funds to people intermittently to ensure that at least they cushion the effect of COVID. Talk to me, how is that different from what is happening now? And secondly, if it is targeting those below a particular line, is that not a good thing?
The question is, where is the database? How do you identify the vulnerable within society? We don't have a database. You can't really tell which community, which locality, which constituency actually qualify to get this money. So how, are you just going to go into the start sending money to people on the street, onto their bank's account? Now, if you send money to me, how do you identify if I need the money or not? Like you just mentioned earlier, that the 25,000 might not be consequential to me economically, but suddenly I find 25,000 in my account. So the purpose of that 25,000 has failed in the first place. If you have a database like you can have in other clients, whereby you know who are the people are living below that poverty level, then you can actually say, okay, we have a database for every constituency, for every local government. We know who qualifies for this money, and the money goes to them. But even with that, what I'm trying to say here is there are more other areas where people need help, assistance. Okay, that you need to assist the people, not giving out cash to people. That's not going to help anybody. And also, I mean, if the budget, they have a budget that the money is going to go out. At the end of the day, someone's going to come up.
I would still like to take you up on this same issue, but we need to go on a quick break. Okay. When we come back.
Welcome back to Newsday. Well, we still have with us Mr. Michael Adeleye. He's a human capacity development expert and economist. Now, Mr. Adeleye, I'm wondering why the federal government most times tilts towards cash palliatives when we talk about poverty eradication. Just how genuine, is the federal government's desire to fight poverty?
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, like I just mentioned earlier, in other climes, nobody goes through this route by giving out cash as palliatives. Get people what they need. Our market women need access how to get their products into the market. Our farmers need the same thing. People who don't have a job need to be trained to have skills to be able to look out for jobs that they can do. You can move from being a biochemistry to go and study carpentry or to go and study something else. You need skills. We're lacking skills. Put that money into technical education. That is my goal. We don't need physical cash to go out to anyone. Thank you very much.
Mr. Michael Adeleye, thank you for your time here on Newsday.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.